Let's get that Bob Costas sound, please, Stugotz, because I found myself bothered by the reaction to Bob Costas over the course of the weekend because he went on CNN and he did this in response to the question, why isn't Joe Biden running a full campaign?
Others that I've quoted from, you come at this from a position of not wanting to see Trump get elected. You should state that at the outset. True?
Yes, absolutely. He is by far the most disgraceful figure in modern presidential history. He's only become more disgraceful since 2016 and since 2020. He is a bubbling cauldron of loathsome traits, and it's only those who are actually suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, which is the way they and Fox News and all the rest of MAGA media try to brush aside all the legitimate criticisms of Trump. You have to be in the throes of some sort of toxic delusion, in a toxic cult, to believe that Donald Trump has ever been, in any sense, emotionally, psychologically, intellectually, or ethically fit to be president of the United States. But his supporters are locked in on that. There is no cult of Joe Biden. Just let me finish this thought, Michael. Even if he had not run explicitly with the pledge that he would be a one-term president, even if halfway through this term he had said, look, I've done my job, I have some policy successes, I'll continue to do my job, and now the Democrats can get, as I said before, some people up in the bullpen and sort through it. He had a chance to be seen as a statesman and a patriot. Now his legacy is likely to be that of a man whose hubris prevented him from seizing the moment in an appropriate way, and at best, he can squeak by Trump, that's at best, or he could lose to Trump and subject the nation to 4 more years of this kind of ongoing insanity, or if he squeaks by, it's very likely that he cannot complete his second term. He'd be 86 at the end of it.
He was, I thought, very good on saying, how is this the best we can do, these two candidates? He was not exactly pro-Biden in everything that he said. We're just playing to you a clip there. But the response to him was consistent, and I've certainly gotten used to it, Stugotz. This particular dismissal, who is Bob Costas, shows such a disregard for history, for perspective, for knowledge, and you're only interested in dismissing someone if you're claiming that person is irrelevant when he's only one of the best people in the history of television. As a dismissal, it is so ignorant and lazy that it renders invalid almost any criticism you have after that if your starting point is, who the hell is Bob Costas?
Yeah, but on that platform, I think a lot of people are saying, who the hell is Bob Costas? Like, they just don't want to hear from Costas on that platform. They want to hear him talk about the Hall of Fame and whether Bond should be in or not.
It's like Emeril Lagasse coming down and breaking down the Heat game. Who cares?
Right.
Because he's one of the best people
I don't think it's quite like
in the history of television.
Bam!
And the way that he puts together thoughts is unusual in the history of televised speech. He is very clean about how he delivers thoughts. He's not saying anything there that other people haven't said. He's saying it better.
Well, he's saying whatever it is that he's saying, and he's entitled to his opinion. I just think people aren't interested in Bob Costas' opinion on who should be the next president of the United States.
Well, CNN is. They're asking him.
Well, I understand
he's a guest on CNN.
But, Dan, you're right. He wasn't pro-Biden, but it's so anti-Trump that it comes off as pro-Biden.
Who
like
cares?
It just does. I don't care.
Right. You know who needs to get the ball more? Bam!
You're onto something here.
I think so.
And a jumper by?
I do think, Dan, people of a certain age group probably don't know who Bob Costas is. I only am familiar with him because of stuff he did 10 years ago, because he's been on HBO the last 10-ish years, right? 5-ish years. And if you're not watching that kind of content, he hasn't been doing Sunday Night Football. He hasn't been doing the Olympics. You might not be aware of who he is.
I also see this in direction of Bill Maher all the time, and it just ignores certain things. Like there are certain resumes you just can't come after. You can disagree with anyone out there saying whatever it is that they're saying that you disagree with, but to dismiss a who is Bob Costas or who is Bill Maher when anyone doing it doesn't have the credentials that those people have at anything, at being excellent at anything, it's dismissive in a way that just shows a lack of knowledge on the subject matter, if that's your starting point.
I don't think that's true. Like, I've pretty much ignored Bill Maher's existence my entire life, and it's been pretty easy to do so because no one in my circle talks about Bill Maher.
No, but when I'm saying when someone says, who is Bill Maher, as if he hasn't been doing groundbreaking television since 1995, it ignores the resume. You don't have to listen or consume what it is those people are saying, but ignoring their resume and dismissing their resume just because you don't know what their resume is sort of undercuts whatever the criticism is after that.
I agree with you on the principle of dismissing the resume, but I think there is difficulty in putting Bill Maher and Bob Costas in the same conversation, in that Bob Costas seems to stem from like a journalism background, and his whole premise is coming at you just with facts and being able to put it as eloquently as possible. Well, Bill Maher is coming at you from sort of a comedic lens, and over the last several years, his biases have sort of shown, where Costas is coming in here and doing, as you mentioned, he's not necessarily propping up Joe Biden as much as he's saying the obvious about Donald Trump and his lack of qualification. So, yes, the dismissal of who is this person is problematic, and it just sort of goes to our media literacy in general.
But if it's a question of I don't know who this person is, that's one thing. But to describe a person that's irrelevant with that kind of resume, I'm asking you, Stugotz, what the bleep does the resume have to be for you to be impressed by it if that's not a resume you're impressed by?
Yeah, but the resume doesn't include political commenter. Like he's out of his lane. This is not, if Costas was doing this on MLB Network, talking about who should be in the Hall of Fame, who shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, and then someone afterward said, well, who is Bob Costas? Because they disagree with him, then I'd understand it, right? In this vein, I kind of do understand why people are saying, who the hell is Bob Costas? He's talking politics. No one wants to hear from Costas on that.
He's always talked politics,
I
though.
know.
Like, he got in trouble for talking politics years ago,
right,
on his platform, which was a sports platform.
He did a gun essay on Sunday Night Football.
I know, but you're feeling like the resume deserves some modicum of respect.
It does. No.
No, it does on the MLB Network.
No.
It does it on CNN when you're giving political views.
Stugotz, excellence is excellence in your field, and anyone criticizing Bob Costas's resume does not have one as good.
But no one genuinely cares what his resume is. If you like what he's saying, you agree with him, and if you don't like, you're gonna be like, who the hell is this guy? Like, it's the nature of reacting to politics. If you like what you hear, it's great and it's funny, and you're gonna share, and if you don't, you're gonna hit on whoever said it.
Who scored the fewest points in the All-Star game? Bam!